have assembled. The Justice League of America have taken their seats around the oval table while we look at the huge wall-sized computer monitor where all the trouble in the world is this. Um, as per usual, but with the usual 100%. Honestly, I want to thank you all for actually showing for the session, for taking part of our lovely chronicle. Um, we will be starting post haste, if not sooner, with this week's episode, which, for the record, is. Let me see if I can summon my host voice. Truth is what stands. When we last left our coterie, the members of our coterie had made their way across the city to tend to various meetings, to tend to various personal needs, to obtain those things that will help them become more of who they are, either through the obtaining of blood and vitae, or electronic tools, or touch base with friends and allies as per necessary to make themselves whole enough to carry out the plan as loosely thrown together as it was. And Chicago's a great city for those sorts of moments in and of themselves. You can always, during the hours of the day, get off to either a cultural center, a museum, an art gallery, a concert, or, as the usual for most people, go to work, bury yourself, hide with your work family long enough to survive your non-work traumas and dramas before returning to it. And in the effort to reclaim themselves, the coterie headed about their evening, or the beginning of their evening, appreciating the additional hours granted to them because the sun sets a little earlier each day. And today is no such different day. It sets at roughly about 4 o'clock, giving the coterie roughly 14 hours of potential activity to carry about their nightly chores and missions. So we're going to start in alphabetical order and work our way through our coterie's first few hours of their evening. Alexander, when everyone awakes from their places in the hotel restroom, with the plan outlined as it was, what would be the first thing he would do? Oh, by the way, would you go ahead and give me that quick browse roll? All right. That being the case, as per his usual, he is able to rise with a superlative grasp on the human portion of himself, the beast merely a shadow, a phantasm in the further recesses of his mind, not rearing his head, not clawing at his innards, in fact giving him just enough notice that it's there so that he doesn't forget. Now, rising as refreshed as possible in such a cramped space as the restroom of the Days Inn, what are Alexander's first goals to accomplish?
Probably send a text to Rika and ask him to update him on any information about the attack, because it might be a bit before he can get back to working on that.
Okay. So his thoughts settle on the vandalism that took place at the temple. And so as he texts Rika, leaving the motel room to give everyone else their time and their space and take care of his own personal issues before diving into what lay ahead of the coterie. Rika much like most older folks, isn't a quick texter. Usually takes some time. He'd much rather prefer a call or simply a peering. But he immediately responds, I believe things are as well as they can be. Are you well?
Yes, I'm well, just might have some things to do before getting back to the investigation on the attack at the temple.
We all must tend to our needs, Alexander. There is no pressing urgency at the moment.
Besides that, I guess just go and check on everybody else to make sure nobody got murdered in their sleep.
So you spend the first few hours moving from one of your contacts to the other, assuring that there's no harm having befallen them. To be so kind, just go ahead and roll wits and streetwise for me. And while you do that, Clyde, you spent the last day tending to your needs and taking care of you. Coming face to face with the monstrosities that was Edith, and still managing some level of success in obtaining the much needed funding for your families so that you can recoup their losses in terms of equipment, left you in a conflicted state. Because there is a kindred who all but frenzied in public. They attacked a human on a major thoroughfare. Hopefully they were smart enough to clean up behind themselves, but the real factor is Chicago, like many other cities, is filled to the brim with cameras. There are cameras not only in every man, woman, and child's hand, but most buildings have several of them. Front, back, side, top, bottom, most of the floors in between. And where you were on Michigan Avenue was a hotspot of electronic activity. Cameras were in the cars. Cameras are on the cars. Cameras are on the buildings. Cameras are in each person moving across the city's hands. In fact, it's such a prevalent problem that instead of calling the police first, most people immediately start recording.
I believe I have one contact. Probably with the newspapers, like a journalist or something like that.
Okay.
So maybe I can give him a call and try to see if something weird is was recorded or something like that.
Okay. Are you going to tell him why, or are you going to attempt to schmooze him into providing information?
Since I'm kind of in the paranormal business, I will try to give the runaround.
Okay. Well, in that case, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll manipulation plus investigation plus your dots and contacts for me. Your target number is 4. if you want to go ahead and use the whole mechanic when rolling. People disappear in the city all the time. In fact, it's such a common occurrence that most police tell you not to bother them unless, of course, it's been 72 hours and the person is under 18.
Critical success.
Yes. So you beat around the bush and you say that you're looking up a missing persons case that has some ties to the paranormal. He immediately laughs and says, "You have impeccable timing. Where are you? Let's meet. I got some things you would love to see. Oh my God, it'll make your show so much better. And this time it'll actually be true."
Like true, or like television true?
Oh, true, so true. We have to kind of water it down. We're actually going to be releasing a expose piece later in the week. But this stuff here, oh my God. We have eyewitness testimony. We have camera, video, as well as still. We have anyway. Just get down here. There's a wealth, and I could use your eye for the weird and kooky on this. This is gonna be great. We're gonna make sure this is gonna be probably the biggest story we've read in the last 3-4 months. You know where we are, right?
Oh yeah, sure. Sounds great, man. I'll be there like in an hour.
I don't plan on working late tonight, but let's do this. There is a bar that I like going to up on the north side. It's right off of Lawrence. It's the Martini Bar. Yeah, no, don't laugh. The name has absolutely no originality to it, but it's the Martini Bar, right up the street from Metro. So I'll meet you over there. Let's say 90 minutes instead of an hour, because catching an Uber from down here sucks.
Okay, cool. I'll be there. Really excited, man.
You better. You're getting a don't tell anybody scoop. This is going to be great. But anyway, I'll see you then. Take care. Be safe. He hangs up. 90 minutes till you have the opportunity to sit with someone in a public venue who has potentially solid information as to supernatural, i.e. kindred activity. And while you're waiting and dreading that moment, Dizzy, you look at the billboard and the name immediately becomes something that you know. That night isn't that long ago. The fact that you're holding that gun, which could burn apparently a hole through steel, makes the small blessing of having your phone in your hand further removed from semblance of importance. Those people, that company, are out there and connected with or responsible for the people who keep waiting for you to make contact.
Yeah, I just write myself a note in my phone and continue on my merry way to the Succubus Club. Whispers and I had talked about trying to set him up, and he'd follow him unseen, so I'm not going to do anything until I get in touch with him. So,
Okay. So you head to the Succubus Club. The Succubus, as its original owner, Brendan Thornhill, would kill if anyone added the club to its name, as an institution. It is a glaring sign that here there be monsters and that you want to party with them. There are no generations within the last 7 who have not partied or thought of partying or wish they partied at the Succubus. It is the place where all the good little emo goth and goth light or the pop punk goths would like to go. It is a throwback and a step forward all at once. Having traveled as much as Dizzy has, she realizes that there is a Succubus Club franchise that goes around the world. But this place doesn't say the Succubus Club, it says succubus. The OG, the founding of a legacy. Entering, the bouncers look you over and don't bother to card you. They don't bother to ask. In fact, as you make your way through the second pair of doors on the street level, they direct you to the VIP. Like, hey, you want to go up there? Or you want to go down the maze? First floor is not for you. And they smile and go back to carding and being jerks to other people in line or pushing people back to the back of the line. You hear one guy get called out for wearing, for those shoes, you're going to wait for an hour to get in here.
Cool. These are my people in more ways than one.
There's no hiding that fact. In fact, it's harder discerning who's not dead, who's not a member of the kindred, than it is to find someone who is. From appearances alone, the place is filled from rafter to rafter with nothing but kindred. There's your granddaddy kindred, there are your cool uncle kindred, there are your auntie from out of town kindred, there are your auntie that lives with her roommate in a one bedroom for the last 20 years kindred. There are kindred from all walks of life and all strata of society who seem to be engaging in the most egregious breach of the masquerade that you could possibly have, at least here on the first floor. You head up or head down?
I will head up to the VIP area because I do not get this treatment very often.
There's perhaps a reason why that's the case, because dressed as you are, as stylishly dressed as you can be for having shot at Target, the moment you hit the VIP section, you immediately know that there's a difference between the people here and the people on the first floor. The people on the first floor are doing everything they can to seem as if they are kindred. And on first glimpses, you'd immediately think that they were dead, or at least heroin chic. The folks up here, however, are wearing some people's year salary, some people's lifetime salaries, just in the cost of the items they have. Toward the far end of the VIP section, clearly holding court of some sort or another, is a decently tall blonde woman with greenish blue eyes. And the fact that you can tell the color of her eyes from your distance of roughly 35 to 40 yards says exactly how eye-catching she is, or how eye-catching she is making herself. She's dressed in a shift that makes her eye color pop, makes her blonde hair seem silkier. Her arms are adorned in various bangles and bracelets that clearly have cost some person far more than they should. Near at hand to her is a gentleman that looks, for all intents and purposes, like a prettier, more muscular version of the Skarsgård gentleman who played Tarzan or that vampire on TV. He is tall, waifishly feminine facial features, but muscular and as well exercised as a professional wrestler. Not far from them is a tall Latina with her hair pulled back into a severe plaiting. Her hair wild and free, but yet somehow still braided, with just enough to give her the hint of being a lion of some sort. On her arm is another woman whose hair is big and vibrant and bouncy and it's indiscriminate, non-defined racial features. Not far from them is a gentleman who looks like the Chinese version of Hercules. And on it goes, various different clearly physically attractive people who are in the midst of conversing or outposing each other in their languor.
Cool. I will get a beer and I will find a dark wall to lean against and just watch them all.
Alright, sounds like a plan. And as you stylishly lean and stay just out of whatever it is that's going on over there, the camera swings away and we're at Crooks on the north side of Chicago. It is one of many less than reputable but publicly accessible places where kindred can be kindred. There are lots of little places across the city. In the olden days, in the good old days, the bad old days, places like this would be considered speakeasies, though open secret speakeasies. And the beast has you by the throat, and it's freezing you in your tracks because you're trying not to cause a scene, but the little nervous, the average height nervous guy with the wind-blown hair is clearly out of sorts. He's pacing back and forth, and smoking up a storm as if that's the only thing keeping him alive.
Right, so I'm heading in and I catch sight of this guy?
Very much so. Unlike the other kindred who are sizing you up for somebody's meal, whether it's theirs or not, he is lost in thought.
Kind of perk an eyebrow and very slowly make my way over and kind of just step into his path as he's facing.
Oh, good God, you're giving me a fright. What can I do you for?
More seems like I might be able to help you of some sort. You seem harried? Nervous? What's going on?
Do you truly care, or are you just asking to waste time? I've got a lot of things and I need to cipher my own way out of it.
Well, I'm not one to stick my nose in if I don't care, so...
He stops. Like, everything about him suddenly stops. His hair is no less windblown or streaked, but there is a pause as he weighs and measures seemingly to the totality of everything you are right in this moment. It's not often that a kindred would extend a hand if it doesn't come at the end of a closed fist or a grip around the neck. This offer of assistance catches him completely off guard, which is the reason why the initial response was to establish distance, to push you further away. But as he pauses and stops and looks you over, something in him changes. There's a softening about his features. There's a consideration that perhaps he may not have to go it alone. My name's Walter. Yeah.
Hestia.
Hestia, dear. Are you serious? Are you really offering help?
Depends on what it is, if I can do it, but if I can manage it, I'm definitely offering you my help, yes.
And who'd have thought there was actually a god that might consider me worth anything at all? I'm not sure how quite to actually go on, considering I've never had one of us offer any real assistance untouched. I really am. And as he exhales an unneeded breath. You see your date arriving from the opposite side of the street, making her way across and into Crooks. The time for offering assistance has been a little curtailed, unless of course you're going to play a dominance game with her and keep her waiting.
With the past week and all that's going on, I'm feeling just a slight bit petty. And I'm curious just how bad she wants to be on my side. So I'm gonna not wait too long, but I'm having a conversation. It'd be rude to walk away.
That it may. He follows your gaze, but he doesn't make mention of it. He simply says, well, I'm in a bit of a pickle. I'm trying to sort my way out. I've recently been the victim of someone else's decisions and actions. I'm not sure you know what that feels like.
Very much so.
Well, it is no fun at all. That much I can tell you. I have more enemies than friends, and any friend now means so much more to me. Well, give me a night. Let me see if I can find a way out and repay your kindness with kindness instead of pulling you further into my potential mess. Hestia, it is always a pleasure. And he actually turns and tries to hail a cab because it's clear that you have other things going on. There's some sense of self-sacrifice in this regard, and your kindness has touched him on a level that he wasn't sure that he'd ever experience.
Normally I don't keep business cards or anything with me because obviously you're not supposed to really exist. But I think have some with just a number on it. That doesn't give a name for obvious reasons, and it's one of many, burner phones that I typically keep. So, before he gets in the cab or finishes hailing his cab, I walk up and slip the card into his hand, and then turn and head inside.
Okay. He is clearly a little shocked by that. But off he runs, off he flees, leaving you to go in to tend your meeting, the conversations that may arise. In fact, that Sylvia is not one to rub elbows with other kindred. That much is cleared by her stiff posture as she sits at the bar, taking up as much space as she can with her elbows, establishing a circle of protection around herself so the kindred don't get too close, but no one needs to enter into her space. And though she's not using it, she has a cell phone clearly out in front of her, signifying that she would much rather not engage in anything except for what she's doing, which is nothing.
I'm thoroughly entertained by this fact, and being much more a person of the people, I guess you could say, maneuver and weave my way, speaking, excuse me, or, speaking to people on my way across to make it very, I'm not pointed, but, I'm comfortable around others, basically. And I come up to her and maybe we should get a table.
That will probably not be necessary. it's not as if they tend. It is not as if they are any cleaner with their tables than they are with this semblance of a bar. Can you believe how cracked, damaged, and covered with wax this thing is? And that's all that I can do to not. Forgive me. Hestia, it is so nice to see you.
You look lovely.
I do, don't I? This was something selected because I wanted to make an impression. Though, it is not that hard to make an impression in a place like this. So here we are. And you've offered to accept my help.
Well, to accept upon going over terms, I'm guessing you would say, so that we both know where we stand, yes.
Of course, I would not dream of having you sign a devil's agreement. I would love for you to maintain your freedom and for the path to be clear to break the little glass ceiling that is holding us all down as women. The fairer of all things. And we know that in his behaviors thus far, DuSable is of no real leadership, and his consistent defense of you while leaving a space open for you is damning not only for you, because the eventuality is that he as a man will bring you into the flock. He as a man will clip your wings and have you heel to his wishes. Not a very good look, sister. Not a very good look at all.
Fairly true. Which is why up to now I have done my abject best to stay very much away from the clip.
Yes. So, what terms are you actually looking for? What agreement would you have with me? What can I do to assist you with maintaining your freedom?
Well, the thing that I was most going to offer, should I return to the Chantry House of my own volition, is that I make my haven, known, I guess, currently as the shelter, a extension of the Chantry House, so that I might bolster its security, have aid if needed, but not need to play the game that is going to the Chantry House when called.
Quite. I couldn't agree with you more. None of us should go running to the Chantry when called or summoned by someone of DuSable's stature. In fact, I think it would be best to ensure that the very next time he calls for assistance, that none of us arrive. None of us, none of the neophytes, none of those dreadful humans that consider themselves mages, warlocks, witches, and whatever they consider themselves.
But how would one exactly do so?
Well, I have a plan.
He does.
something that we can do. Something that we can do to prove to the world and to DuSable himself that he is not the man for us. His dreams of male-dominated unity and his control of us. And we'll pause right there as Lucio, you sit across from Janus with the idea that they are asking for more than you're willing to give. Seems so familiar to a business strategy that you would not normally consider yourself part of. Their faces misshapen and so close together, sparking thoughts of less than scrupulous things.
So let me just get all this straight, Janus. In exchange for this bit of blood here, you want me to give away my deepest, darkest secrets. On top of that, you want me to name people near and dear to me.
Oh no, not your deepest and darkest of secrets. No. Just a little bit of flesh. A light secret. Someone like you, I'm sure, has many. Many indeed. So many.
Let's start with what you asked for first. This last week of personal truths, shall we say.
Oh, recent. We always merely said a week. It doesn't have to. Yes, a new week is always fun.
Well, I say a week, but most of it has happened within the last few nights. Most of my thoughts on the matters that have happened. I don't know if word has reached you or anyone else about what happened the other night, last night specifically.
Lots of things happen. Which one were you involved with?
By chance, have you heard anything about a conflict with the Sabbat?
We've heard rumors, but as is always the case when it comes to the Sabbat, it's always smoke and no fire.
Well, last night there was a lot of fire.
There's 7. Go on.
Last night, I saw my grandsire, the one who killed me, the one who's working with the Sabbat, and in that moment, I knew I had to kill her, or
Did you?
at least stop her.
Did you kill her? Did you drink her dry? Did you take a little nibble?
I wanted to.
What stopped
Some
you?
dark part of me wanted to.
Why didn't you? A bite.
I chased her for over a mile, along with my coterie. We finally confronted her, and I won. I beat her at her own game. Something that most people would think is impossible, and, well, if you want to know how I managed to do that, that is a very valuable secret that you would have to pay extra for. But the point is I won, and I when I saw her body slump down into torpor, some part of me did want to end it all. To take back what she took from me.
Yes, but you're not speaking the truth there. You say you beat her, you say you wanted to drink her, but you're not saying why didn't you?
Because when I saw her, I saw another thing, an opportunity. Earlier that same night, we had lost one of our coterie. And before that, a friend of mine had also lost more people to the Sabbat's machinations. And I thought maybe, just maybe, before she dies, we could get some information from her. And that is half of the reason why I chose to spare her life.
But you
Or begged
monster.
my friend to not shoot her.
But you spared the monster.
The other reason is because one of my coterie wanted to finish the job. And I'm gonna be completely honest.
Oh.
I stopped them not just because of the potential benefit that her life would have, but also because I didn't want her death to be stolen from me. She will die. I'll make sure of that, but I want it to be me that does it. And until I decide that she has no more use for us, she will live, and she will sing everything she knows like a fucking bird.
Birds are so fragile. So, you saved her from dying after beating her so that you could make her suffer and think of death coming whenever you decide, while draining her dry of all the information she may have.
That puts it quite succinctly, yes.
And you're sure that she's Sabbat?
I know it. Technically, we don't have hard evidence, but we do have information from, well, you mentioned the warlocks and witches beforehand. I happen to know one.
My condolences. Our condolences. Our condolences. Have they got inside your head yet?
I'm pretty sure everyone's gotten inside my head at some point. I just don't know it.
That's no fun at all. But okay. And they lean back in their chair, the squeaking and squelch of the wood and springs screaming in protest of their bulk. And they look toward the darkened ceiling above your head, and they consider. And you can see as if they're actually doing some math, though more along the lines of complex computations, a finite statistics sort of math. There's long form, long hand formulas being concocted, weighed, and measured. For now, this will do. We'll verify the information and knowing that you come in good faith. Lucky. Yes, so lucky. Such a lucky one. A Sabbat sleeper agent in the midst of the Camarilla being such a good hound, and yet managing to have all of the monstrous news come to light. Such an interesting thing. Off you go. We have things to tend to, and we will hopefully be seeing you sooner than later.
It's always a pleasure, Janice.
There's a reason. There's most definitively a reason for them being in a central hub-like location. From here, if you backtrack, you get to one of the major connection stops for the subway, for the elevator, for commerce and politics. Yet beings such as them are sitting here in its midst, soaking up information not only through spoken word but through osmosis. How quickly the trains arrive, how delayed they are, the voices in the halls, those that echo down the long dark tunnels. And while they play many games, there's always the thread of the reality they see. The 2 times you've spoken with them.
So as I'm making my way out, I am going to take out some of the blood right away to start reducing my hunger and to try and mend at the same time.
Okay, how much are you trying to heal?
I don't think I can heal aggravated damage except after I sleep, right?
Right, which means you could at this point attempt to heal 1 level of aggravated.
Alright, so I have 2 more superficial damage. I'd like to try and heal those.
Alright, begin the mending.
Alright, so first, should I mark my hunger back down to 1?
Yes.
Alright.
As you find yet a nice dark corner to consume a good portion of the blood in your presence that you have now purchased with secrets of one sort or another. There's also another matter that comes to light as you begin gourmandizing the blood that you've chosen. While you've only ever drunken from the vein once, you have actually purchased, not traded or bartered with secrets, but purchased blood. You know approximately what the wholesale cost of the amount of blood you just obtained. At least you know the financial value of blood. Yet they are willing to part, and you're clearly not their only customer. You're clearly not their only clientele. They're willing to part with almost equal value for secrets. What is it that they're actually doing? How are they able to afford to purchase their many strains, their many vented varieties?
Something tells me I'm gonna need to find that out at some point. But for right now, that's low on the priority list. Well, leaving the cave with this thought, I will take out one more one more bit of blood to reduce my hunger back down to 1 because it increased to 2 in order to mend. If there's anything left, that is.
There is. You've only drunken so far 5 draughts of the week's worth you have.
All right. And I will... Quick question. How am I transporting this?
You have what looks like a 12-pack, but it's filled with the decanters, the water bottles that they like to transport their blood in. So it looks, for all intents and purposes, like you have a 12-pack of the liter-sized bottles.
Alright. I'm gonna have to carry this with me to the house.
Yes. And hopefully, no ne'er-do-wells think that you are, in fact, a drunkard, a workaday drunkard, heading home with your half a case of beer. Because, well, things can get interesting. Not that you're excessively unkind or uncharitable, but sharing blood seems like not the thing to do. So you're heading to your haven to spruce up, or are you heading to the group haven to spruce up?
Oh, me?
Yes.
I thought I was heading directly to the drop house.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Takes care of that direction. So from where you are to the drop house would take, if you catch the first train, or if you drive, the train would take you about an hour and 15 minutes. Driving would take you right about 30.
I don't have a car, so I guess I have to take the train.
Alright, so an hour and a quarter. If you're saying you caught the first train smoking, as it were, heading south, and took that small, quick walk west. Yeah. To say that you stick out would be untrue. Not unfactual, would be untrue. Saying you stick out means that there's a chance that there was someone that you would fit in. But dressed as you are, even having knitted the damage as you have, carrying a 12-pack of liter-sized water bottles, the metal variety, you definitively are a walking billboard of weirdness. And yes, it's partially due to that even though you have workaday clothing on, you clearly don't live or reside in the area. The shift in socioeconomic upward mobility, the congestion of the people of the area, the weight of poverty makes it apparent you do not reside in the area. And as you consider the sort thumbness of your being here, Alexander, you head to speak with Rika. Or you continue touching base with your other friends, families, and associates first?
I guess if everyone seems to have their own thing to do, then I'm gonna go ahead and go touch base with Rika.
Oh, everyone seems decently appointed. Everyone seems relatively happy. Everyone seems as if nothing out of the ordinary has taken place, almost as if they can fit neatly into the all's well category. There's no messy engagements. There's no outside influences present. There's everything moving as it should, or at least as most will believe that it should. There's a sameness to it, like that quiet before the storm, or that it's quiet, too quiet feel.
Alright, well, yeah, I think I'm gonna go touch base with Rika and then see if he can get me pointed in a direction to start looking for whoever staged the attack.
Okay. He is surprised to see you arriving. They have managed to pressure wash most of the building's exterior. There's still a lot more work to do interiorly, as it looked as if an army of someone's with accelerated skill broke as many boards as they could and shattered as many drywalls as they could. An army of super enraged and spinach swilling chads have come through to make sure that the drywall knew its place. They didn't stop at just the drywall, but most of the debris has been picked up or at least swept into a more manageable place to be discarded. Rika is clearly one of the many who have worked through the night, and while you had a very eventful evening in terms of being beaten upon the neck and shoulders, or the attempt being made very realistically, they have had that same engagement through the sheer weight of all the cleaning that they have to do, all of the repairs that have to be begun, and the fact, for all the purposes, this temple was home and safety and security, and has been violated from the inside out. Alexander, I did not expect you. I'm glad to see you.
It's nice to see you too, Rika. Since last we touched base, have you been able to find any details, any more details on the people who did this, like their names and what they were wearing, anything like that?
No, and I'm not sure that we should. Right, come this way. And he leads you back into what you know as the head monk's office. The master of the temple, as it were. And he pulls the door closed behind you. A few months ago, our troubles began, and so a few of the brothers decided that perhaps surveillance for when we were not in presence might be necessary. I initially thought otherwise, but allowed them to place cameras in the public areas. In the midst of cleaning last night, I did have an opportunity to watch some of the collected video information. You won't believe it. And it is 9:30. Well, it's 30 minutes after the hour for us. Let's take a quick 10 minutes and I'll be right back. All right, folks, sorry about the delay. I do apologize about that. Alex, you're back? Anybody back?
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Yep, back.
No
I'm
worries.
back.
Hoorah. Now, you're in the head monk's office and being presented with information that just as little as 4.5, 3 years ago would have been like finding out that your priest used to sell drugs or was involved with the adult entertainment industry or was a former mob enforcer. It seems almost sacrilegious that someone of any bit of holiness to stoop so low as to actually allow surveillance equipment inside the temple. It also signifies how seriously these threats and damages were taken. All the same, you sit down and open the bureau doors and see the video surveillance array. The recorded, still very old school, videotapes and cassettes stacked and labeled and dated. The one from yesterday already in the player. You click the play button and watch as a pair of young ladies enter into the building. Looked as if they just simply opened the door. You know, that shouldn't be the case, because whenever there's no one on the premises, all the doors are locked. Holy though they may be, they still exist in the city. They still exist in Chicago, of all places. So their doors are locked. But these two simply walked up to the front door and opened it. There's something unnerving about watching these two go through katas and striking maneuvers. And it's only as you watch it through the second time do you realize that their faces are blurred. So it's an impossibility because nothing else seems blurred out or damaged on the tape. But their faces, even when they stare directly into one of the many hidden cameras in the foyer, it's blurred. It's non-existent. You can tell that one's a blonde and the other's a redhead. You can tell that they are more than physically fit. It's clear that they don't go to LA Fitness or Bally's. It's clear that this is the sort of fitness that comes from living hard and using the environment and one's own body weight repeatedly over significant time. These are the bodies of fighters. These are the bodies of people who have somehow hit that upper echelon of fitness where their muscles ripple without being bulky, where they have strength without losing flexibility, where they have definitive skill that belies simple memorization of techniques. Almost as if they, looking at them, you could learn a thing or two based on how they move. And it's right as the video begins to eat itself that you realize that one of the young ladies seems to be carrying her torch, even though she didn't have anything in her hand the second before. And then the video begins eating itself.
So they both look female, from what I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's interesting, because the graffiti outside suggested a religious attack, but the blurred face thing, with everything that's been happening in Alex's life recently, his mind immediately jumps to supernatural tampering, but it could also be technological expertise.
Yes, it could.
I'm gonna ask Rika, is this all you have besides the graffiti outside to go on, or have you made any enemies lately, or is anybody in the temple made any enemies that you know of?
Like I said, we exist as harmoniously as we are able. There are no enemies here. At least there are no external enemies. Our philosophy is simple. We follow the way. Our practices are simple. We follow the way. Our existences are, in fact, simple. We follow the way. We exist always in the way. This I'm sure you already know, but I understand. Being in the world, you have to approach what is there before our faces. In the most complicated of manners. It could not be what we see. Two young female Akashics having chosen to destroy us. That simply could not be it.
Do you know if any other religious organizations have suffered similar attacks recently?
I am not aware of any additional troubles that anyone else has faced. These Akashics seem to have a fundamental disagreement with our statement of following the way, of seeking what enlightenment we can. But go on, Alex. You were saying.
If it's a philosophical opposition, then it might be some sort of indulgence cult, but I'm really not sure until I look and see if there have been similar attacks in other religious organizations that might have similar messages or different messages. Maybe it's you're with us or against us spiritually idea. What do you think, Nathan?
I would not initially have thought it possible, but it seems as if some of our brethren believe that we are in the wrong, and they believe that the only way to awaken us is to take action against the physicality of our being. But there's much to do, and I thought that perhaps your perceptual outlook might be of assistance. Will you come help me rebuild the stairs?
Yeah, any repairs you need help with, I am willing to assist with for tonight. But I do want to find out where this came from, because if they saw fit to attack the Buddhist temple of all places, then I don't know who else is in danger. I'm sure you understand.
No, of course. I do understand. And as he says, I will, of course, I do understand. Clyde, you are at the Martini Bar. Your contact, Josiah Bartle, is sitting at the bar 2 martinis in. It seems as if his gauging of time was considerably off. But he sits at the bar, 2 martinis, glasses empty in front of him, his laptop open, several pads of notes, and what looks to be 5 or 6 USB. He waves you over as you enter into the bar because, well, you do cut a fairly recognizable figure.
Whoa, careful, friend. Those are dangerous.
What, the USB? No. Plus, this is the new way of doing things.
No, I mean the martinis. Last time I have 4, I wake up underneath a table.
Oh no, we're old friends.
Okay, each his own.
Plus, they're not dangerous. Not these. These are cognac martinis. But did you want one? I can get you one.
Sure.
The bartender has a thing for me, and he waves down the Viking behind the bar, who has more tattoos per capita than he has skin. He motions towards the martinis in front of him, and the bartender just nods, holding up 2 fingers. He nods. And as all of that's taking place, with his left hand, he's turning on his laptop and immediately booting up the image that he has. This came in this morning. I know we weren't...
I'm going to roll for Flush of Light.
Mm-hmm.
Success. Okay. Yep.
And your beast does not want to let you have any fun whatsoever. It sticks its head in and says, No. We're not healing. That's dead. And suddenly, as delicious as the martini sounds, you know it will taste like ash. You know that what will in fact taste so much better, so delicious, is the very hot blood coursing through his veins.
I'm gonna try to just play with the glass. I'm not drinking, and I'm gonna tell him. Now let's see this fabulous footage you tell me you have.
Oh, you're not gonna believe this. This came in this morning. Someone, now the boys down in tech, they already told me that it's already been manipulated. It's been, what did they say? It's been stitched together. But this is ridiculous. You've got to see this. I've been having the tech boys go over it all day, and I can't find anything that really stands out. Someone did some really, really good makeup on this, clearly. And what takes place over the next 45 seconds in front of your eyes is enough to have someone staked. You catch sight of 5 or 6 people from the angle this was shot above, either from someone's balcony or some top of a building or just from far enough away. There are 5 or 6 people chasing a blonde, clearly Harley inspired blonde. Looks platinum, maybe white. No one that old could be moving that fast. There are 5 or 6 people leaping across a street, some of them getting hit by cars, and they keep moving. It's immediately spliced together with a woman being bowled off of her feet and blood shooting into the sky like some very bad 70s martial arts film. And it's spliced together with, you know that face, that's Damien, being set upon by two, a male and a woman, who clearly have decided that subtlety doesn't exist. Fangs bared, and they charge Damien, still shot from above at a downward angle. Then you see footage from Dalton Disco as people are running and screaming, and there's a guy in the middle of the crowd spraying into the crowd. You hear screams and shouts. And then you see the police outside of the Oasis as they try to subdue some homeless person, clearly on bath salts, tearing and ripping. And the camera's too shaky to get a clear image of that homeless person's face. And then it ends.
Oof, that was intense, man.
My God, do you know what we have? It is clearly either bath salts or LSD, but who would go through all of that trouble and put on all of that makeup to make this happen?
So, just out of character, two vampires were feeding on the Nosferatu lady?
No, the person that was tackled by what looked like a Nosferatu, what to them looks like, you know, the best Hollywood makeup ever, was the person that you know as Edith. Although you can't clearly see her face, you can clearly see that it is inhuman, whatever this person is masquerading as they attack and maul someone.
Okay. I'm gonna tell him.
Can you believe that? And I know we weren't the only ones to receive it. Do you remember Ed from over at the Tribune, who just do the urban beat? Well, he's working for this online news zine out of Aurora, and he says that they received 4 of these stitched together clips, except for his. Can you believe this son of a bitch? He doesn't have a 45-second clip that was stitched together. He has 4 minutes that were stitched together.
Wait, you received it edited already?
Yeah, someone literally stitched this together. I told you, I had the tech boys take a look into this, and they said that these are different. What did they say? These are different shutter speeds, or these are different speeds, or different. Anyway, something about FPS. And so someone took all of these little trailers of monsters and put them together, but they did a guerrilla style filming, because I was able to find. Hang on, let me see if I can bring it back up. And he starts typing on the laptop, rewinding the clip to the portion where the victim was being attacked by the Nosferatu-looking lady. Her! And he freezes it a half a second too late, so that literally all you see is the woman's hand and the splatter of blood. But yeah, that one, her, I was able to. Well, I wasn't able to. I'm not gonna lie. But some of the tech boys were able to focus on some of the faces. That woman is at Michael Reese Hospital. She was attacked, she says, by a wild animal. But
it sounds fishy to me, man. It's, I mean, if you receive the footage like separately, that sounds more convincing. I think somebody's playing a prank, like a Hollywood stunt or something like that.
I thought that too, but there's an actual victim that says that she was attacked by an animal with cancer. And then that clip of that homeless guy with the werewolf mask on, with the insect, whatever he did with the makeup, that guy got away. There are 7 police officers on medical leave from that. I was able to get one of the car numbers. You know that? Did you know that those numbers actually mean something? Like they mean like the precinct and the shift that car is usually on in service. Now they go outside of those numbers all the time, but you could find the precinct and the officers who were supposed to be there. The 7 officers that were involved in that little whatever that was are on medical leave. They're unable to speak with the, how do they say, the scum chasing muckrakers. Can you believe someone actually says that in 2020? Seriously, muckrakers?
I always thought of the term like an endearment thing, you know.
I mean, it's 2020. Who uses that? Come on, really? How old are you? All right, Mr. Peanut or Uncle Moneybags. But yeah, so there's.
So let me do a couple of things. Where are my things?
Did you check your other pants?
So I'm gonna ask him. First, I'm gonna tell him. So, do you have any more copies of this?
Yeah, you know, come on now. You know Bob would let me leave with the masters. We got to clear it with legal before we can do anything with it. But I want to have all my ducks in a row. I want to have as much information as I can. I've already tracked down the lady and the 7 cops. I can't get to them. However, I do. One of my friends referred me to this Novak or Novicki or whatever. It's some little local ambulance chasing detectives, you know, the sort that sneak around in people's bushes, take pictures of them doing things that they shouldn't. Well, he says that they really are good and that they would be able to find and track these people down. Now, if they're able to do that and we're able to get an interview with these people, we could be on the cusp of something really, really good. This is easily 3, 6, 10 weeks of stories. By the time we get through with the cops, we get the lady, we find whoever these are in these masks, we find the old lady, the blonde, the Harley old lady that's running across the street being chased by these people. Oh my God, do you know how much we can get off of this? And of course, Bob didn't want to publish it once it passes legal, because it'll pass legal and then there'll be some iffy or so. When we start raising questions and he'll get cold feet. By the time the article's already written, I get paid for my time. We release this online. It will be gangbuster. The views we will get when we crack this. And I'll give you.
Sounds serious. So, do you want some help?
Of course, I'll give you a producer credit.
Sounds cool, man. To get the names of his leads.
So, you see it too, right? You see the money, right? You see the views, right?
Well, it still sounds fishy, but to be honest, I'm more interested in the story behind the story. You know, who put it together? Because it seems like a pro work.
Well, clearly someone.
I mean, my guys.
A lot of time.
My guys will take like weeks to stitch that from different. Try to find all the people from the different phones and the different. Yeah, but I'm interested.
Well, Clyde, sweetie, honey, doll, you get your people. Here, take this copy. I have others. You get your people approaching it from that angle. We'll work on the story together. We'll share information. I get to release it first after getting Bob's blessings, and then you get to release it later. That way we can kind of double dip if push comes to shove. Your girlfriend and her husband still are doing their thing, right?
Yeah, they are stronger than ever. And you know what? Let me do some dominate this poor fellow. Oh no, I don't have submerged direct. No, never mind. I'm gonna tell him. Yeah. Do you think I can talk with your editor just to clear things on the legal side?
Bob, you know he's very much a square. Doesn't work late. Lives all the way out in Bumblefuck. But I will set up a meeting tomorrow. Maybe a luncher.
Oh, I'm busy during the day, you know. You know how the internet doesn't pay that well. But early evening, maybe some drinks or a steak.
Oh, you know, I could always use a little extra meat in my life. So I'll talk to Bob. I'll get things set up. You take this copy tonight. You go run home and do your little magic. Take a look at where it is stitched and all of that stuff. And then when you get that situated, I'll work on Bob. Legal's already working on it. And then we can start with an idea as to when we can have everything put together. All of our sources, all of the information, the story behind the story, and we can blitzkrieg the world.
Yeah, sounds like a plan, mate.
You're not going to drink that? You were just across grabbing your cocktail glass.
Oh, it's I have to try. It kicks like a mule for me. And you know me, lightweight.
You're going to be old before your time if you keep this up. You know that, Clyde. You do know this, don't you?
Oh yeah, well, sometimes the old liver can't take it anymore.
Well, Scoop, I have a date coming. I knew you'd be late, so I entertained myself. And I have a date coming. And no offense, Clyde, if you can't handle your liquor, you definitely couldn't handle who I have coming. Oh my God, he is a Sumerian god. But anyway, I will set this up with Bob and see you tomorrow, okay?
All right, thanks, mate. Nice to see you.
Always a pleasure, Clyde. Always a pleasure. Wish it was more, but, you know, you have your picks and I have mine. Have a nice night, Clyde.
Thank you, mate. I leave 20 in the table, and I'm guessing that's the average price for a drink. Before the voices on my head start screaming bloody murder, get out of there.
As you're leaving, Dizzy, you have walked into a salon, a public salon, where not only is the Vogue real, smizing is very, very much real. They are talking the absolute maddest gossip that you can lip read and make out from a distance. It is clear that someone done fucked up, and someone else helped them fuck up, and someone else is being used as a scapegoat. There's side eye, resting bitch face, regardless of sex. There is the go away hands, the light little flutter of the backhand. There's looking daggers, and yeah, it's a mess. Clearly, you walk into a group's chew out session, and it seems as if the blonde with the green eyes and all of the bangles and arm jewelry is in control, if not leading.
All right, well, I'll lean on the wall like the unwanted kid in middle school and nurse my beer a little bit and just kind of stay out of things, but watch them kind of flutter around each other.
Okay. With that being the case, go ahead and roll wits and performance for me, please. And while you're able to see, read a few lips, you're not close enough to hear because of the music that's playing downstairs and the music from the DJ up on this level. And you're sure that there's another source of music because it's just there under the bass that you're feeling from downstairs. That is a completely different genre than what the DJ is playing up here. There's yet another bass line, another genre of music in play. And as you watch, without getting too close or trying to draw too much attention to yourself, you realize something's not quite right. All of the actions you've seen before, all of the mannerisms you've seen before, all of the forced interactions you've seen before, so you can kind of gauge that this is what it is, but then there's another layer of information being spread. This is people play acting with such passion and conviction as to seem the real thing. But there's another layer to what's happening. And it's only as you take your eyes off and don't focus on what's happening, you actually look at the bottom of your beer bottle, because beer tastes like beer, but then there's some beer that has a strange, out of nowhere, left field hit, and that's exactly what happened to you. If you were human, you would have coughed or gagged or some otherwise responded. But it's merely just another note in a long line of notes of sensory information you received tonight. So for you, it was just more of a, that's funny. And then you, while tending to your beer, preparing to order another, realize that wave, that backhand flutter, wasn't just a wave. There was actually a message there, and not just a message of go away. ... dash ... The resting bitch face as it looks to the side, left, right, left, left. And the tall Amazonian Latina, as she's sighing, so while they seem to be communicating in the most publicly abrasive and aggressively dismissive manner, there is another message that they are sharing. Not that you were a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout or a Cub Scout or any Scout whatsoever. You weren't even part of Troop Beverly Hill, but you've, from associating with your crew and from spending time with each other, Zeke was, despite his appearance, joie de vivre, his lust for life, paranoid as all get out. Alston was a master of codes, and they often played little games of communicating just beneath what they were actually saying. And that's what's taking place with all of those folks there.
I think Dizzy will order another beer and assume that she didn't like it when they did it either, and kind of roll her eyes and go see what's happening down on the first floor, because she wouldn't know who the hell they're talking about anyway. So
Making your way downstairs, you run into a guy with a red mohawk. It's not even a real mohawk. It's a half a mohawk. It's the mohawk that you could easily comb down to seem as if you have a normal hairstyle. Piercings in his nose, however, while real, you can tell were done after. Because while he seems from a distance totally human, as you nearly bump into him and bowl him over as he makes his way downstairs into the maze, you realize, yeah, he's cold. The cold you get when all 21 grams of your soul leaves your body cold. Watch where you going, little tough girl.
Yeah, okay, whatever, weekend, dude.
Weekend. It's been in. You know, I can fuck yourself.
I just might, since there's nothing here worth fucking anyway.
How would you know unless because you tried it all? Are you saying you get around that much that quick? Fuck.
I have a practice die.
You're a crazy chick. You want to head downstairs?
I mean, I already was, so do I need your permission?
Usually. But I'm feeling in a charitable mood. I won't even make fun of your stupid ass beard.
Alright, then I won't make fun of your stupid ass hair anymore.
Now see, them's are almost fighting words. We'll see how tough you are downstairs. Genghis, what's your name?
Dizzy.
Sounds about right.
What's your name? Should I just call you Chaos, or is it Spike, or...
Genghis.
Genghis. Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, I tend to be. If you need things done, I'm kind of the guy to look up. Come on downstairs. You'll like the maze better. It's not all these stuck up jackasses. How long you been in the city?
Long enough.
Clearly, you made it all the way here and you didn't get fucked up. You know, there's a crazy group of new sheriffs that take their job way too fucking serious.
God, I hate that type of people.
Yeah. Luckily, they don't really hang out down here. Otherwise, I'd have to find a new spot.
No kidding. Alright, so what's downstairs then?
You head downstairs, and it is exactly what you thought, a completely different bar. The first floor is the main, poser, weekend goth, sort of pop punk wannabe space with everyone pretending to be kindred or vampires or some combination of the two. Upstairs is clearly for actual kindred and the mortals that they choose to associate with. And tonight was clearly someone's meeting. The downstairs, the maze area of the succubus is just that. There's a huge maze that takes up roughly 3/4 of the floor. You can see a bar just past it if you choose not to go into the maze. At the far end, there are 4 different stairwells up and out, one into the building, the others all head up and outside. And you have never been in such close proximity with so many open, out and out anarchs.
Yeah, this is a lot cooler than upstairs.
Yeah, I thought you'd think so. The moshing ain't started yet, and supposedly somebody wants to get a wall together tonight. You ever did the wall of death?
No.
Tonight be a good time to start, because the fucking tower's trying to crack down on us again. Makes me almost want to go out to Gary, but I'm not that stupid or that desperate yet. Especially with the last shit that happened out there. Anyway, let's get you a real drink.
Okay, who's Gary?
Nobody you want to know. No place you want to know either. And as he settles in at the bar with you, Sylvia looks at you. Have you made up your mind in regards to what we're going to do? Yes, Jim?
Well, you don't want to tip our hand too early. It gives him time to get back up, doesn't it?
He doesn't have any allies. He's forsaken what little political power we've had. Just another of his many failings to us as a whole. And his little Erichtel being the ever good little fetch girl. She really annoys me. More so than him, because she's an enabler. She's supporting him as regent of the Tremere because of him having been Nikolai's child or having survived the werewolf attacks, as if that's some big deal. We've all survived a werewolf attack.
That's true.
I don't understand why she supports him. Her and Sun Che and all of the others. It is enough to make me have a headache.
Well, who would you put forth to take his place?
Any woman at this point, though in truth, Erichtel wouldn't be any better. And Sun Che, as you know, I'm sure, is far too insane.
What a waste.
Yes, but she is our...
How about you?
I'd be honored, though we know I wouldn't get the support because I'm not a man. Especially, and no offense, because I know you're not one of them, but with Prince Jackson, Prince, he was, one, brought over because of his criminal ties. You know how those types can be. And two, what has he really done for us as a whole? Oh, we're at peace with the Lupars. Wasn't that done because of the gang group, who now are all willy-nilly wanting to go hunt them? Not that they're even really ivory tower to begin with. And don't get me started on the Bruja in the city. Are you serious? A pedophilic rapist, a barely literate child out of high school as our sheriff, and the prince, not that he's Bruja, but he might as well be. Look at how dark his skin is.
How quickly can I school my face after that one?
Well, are you trying to hide it? Roll your manipulation and subterfuge.
Well, more it's a nervous smirk, but I wanted to play it off more just like as a smirk of agreement.
Okay. Well, go ahead, roll your manipulation subterfuge. Play it as something else.
This is so cool. I have performance. I can perform. Let's see. No, okay. I'm good.
Oh, please, no. I don't mean it like that. I mean, he was brought over because he was a gangbanger.
Ugh, that's not good.
Really? Oh, no. No, don't be like that. I don't mean it that way. You know, I couldn't mean it that way. I've dated. And even though DuSable wasn't a gangbanger, you know he was. But I don't mean it that way. What I mean is that our prince is a former gangbanger. That's what I mean by dark. Not like that. He was a former criminal, and so he thinks like a criminal. And that's not what we need. And we don't need him or DuSable in a position of power. Especially being as the Bruja are barely Camarilla. We are barely Camarilla because of DuSable. And it'd be so much like the former First Lady. If you were to, for instance, seek to become regent, though that would definitely hamper your freedom. You could be our own version of. You could be our own version of Obama's wife, whatever her name was.
Ooh, I'm trying to remember why I don't like her. Why? Up until this point. Oh. You make very, very good points.
I do, don't I? I usually do. And we know that the only reason why he's attempting to demand that we maintain a seat for you. Because if he was able to bring you back into the Chantry and make you heal at his say-so, that the others of us, of them in the Chantry, would think he had more control and power than he does. We don't want to give him more social power than he deserves, and he clearly doesn't deserve what he has. But look at me, just running off at the mouth. I'm sorry. This is your time. This is your moment. Go ahead, girl.
Well, I mean, like I said, you made all very, very good points, and I should commit. I really should.
Just tell me how I can help you. Just tell me how I can help you, and I'll make sure that you don't have to worry about DuSable at all. You'll have my support. You'll have all the many things that I've learned. And while you speak, your spell work is, from what I remember from your sire, is impeccable. However, with a little help with my elocution, your spellcraft will go supernova. A few of the spells that I've crafted do require a certain enunciation, but I'm sure that we can help you learn that, and you'll be beyond reproach. Between that and my help with DuSable, you will have the freedom that you need, that you want, with no strings attached from the Chantry.
I still think I'm gonna. Okay, so while I'm going to see myself, I'm contemplating. I want to do an insight check. Now that I can see her face today.
Okay. What is your gut curious about?
What she has to gain in all this. Like her true reason for helping me. What is she trying to get at? Like, is she trying to set me up for failure as the scapegoat? Or does she really want to see me win? Like, what is she really about?
Okay. Well, in that case, go ahead and give me a roll of wits and insight. Give me a 3 or better.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Well, has nothing to do with you winning. Your freedom won't do one thing for her, good, better, otherwise. However, if she's able to make DuSable look bad, it strengthens her position. And the best way to make DuSable look bad is to take his pet project and make sure that it's not his pet project anymore. After all, you people do need leaders to make up your mind.
So this is entirely just about embarrassing him and taking his spot.
Seems as if she knows she can't actually take his spot, but definitely taking him down a peg. Think about it. If she was able to do what he's not able to do, while she still may not be in the running for regent, she may not be able to take over his position, she would make his apparent weakness seem very, very clear to those who are paying any semblance of attention. He's fighting tooth and nail to keep a slot open for you and to make sure that no one trespasses against you. And yet you still won't go to him. If she's able to get you to go to her, how much weaker does he look?
Yes.
So here's what I was thinking. Now, I think that we start small. Start small. Allow me to teach you a few handy spells that you could use, and if you deliver them the way that I do, it'll be known that we are working together to maintain your freedom. And then, because there is an alignment happening all too soon, and if we show up together in solidarity, all of us sisters together, arm in arm, it will make it obvious for even a blind person such as DuSable to see that you are your own woman, sister girl.
That sounds splashing.
So,
I like it.
Excellent. So I've gotten a few that I've jotted down that maybe you want to take a look at, and then we can practice, and your elocution and your display will make it obvious. So I was thinking a simple bolstering spell. You can bolster your personal shields. It works like a ward, except for it's an article of clothing. It'll bolster your own personal protection, and while the charge won't be as high as a normal ward, it will drive home the fact that you are much more than he could possibly account for.
Yes, I think I like this.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And as she says, excellent, Lucia, you're standing outside of the drop house. You've obfuscated and hid yourself as best as possible. But there is still that thread that keeps running through your head. How the fuck? Why the fuck? What the fuck? Or in some cases, who the fuck? You've witnessed 4 SUVs come to the house. And unlike most of the patrons you've seen via the video and via your own surveillance, these SUVs aren't customers. They're deliveries. Each time one of the SUVs pull up, 3 people get out carrying what looks to be a steamer trunk, and 3 different people get back into the SUV and it drives off.
Did I bring a camera with me by any chance?
You didn't say that you did, but potentially you would have had one from your time with Arsenio that you didn't get a chance to drop at the house.
Can I say that I brought it?
Of course.
I would like to be taking pictures of this.
All right. That being the case, go ahead and roll your resolve and stealth to see how long you've been able to remain hidden without using your abilities, because you know if you start using your abilities, the opportunity of you having a clear, distinct picture goes out of the window.
Right, as it turns out, I do in fact have a dot in stealth. And I forgot to include my hunger dice in this.
Well, you did. You can take the one result, or you can roll over. Which would you prefer?
I'll try. Am I okay to roll it again?
Of course. Oh, look at you. And you managed to somehow increase. Your beast is working with you. That's a first. So you managed to find a good position, partially due to having worked with Arsenio. And you know that very, very few people actually look up. As long as you stay as prone as possible, and you're relatively out of easy line of sight, while you, personally, have a fairly great line of sight. You have the high ground. Unfortunately, there was an old movie, Rearview Window, guy who watched that bad things happened and lost himself. And the stories are very, very convoluted and was designed for him to see what he thought he saw, so that when he did see what he thought he saw, no one would believe him. You get a sinking suspicion that much the same is happening here. To shift change, if there was such a thing, it would be more than 12 people leaving and 12 people arriving, and the 3 entering are carrying steamer trunks and the 3 exiting are not. They weren't this open when you were here last. And as you
Something
begin,
tells me that in catching Laura, we've kind of tipped them off. Fuck. Nothing I can really do about it now except continue to observe and wait until everyone gets here.
speaking of everyone getting there, you've never noticed before how stealthy Damien is, or how stealthy he could be, because you realize now he's walked past you 3 times and he almost perfectly blends in with the neighborhood, with the corner boys and the various other youthful looking people floating across the neighborhood. You only realize that it was him the 3rd time that he's gone past your perch.
I'm not really going to say anything to him. I'll wait for him to say something to me, because I don't want to, like, interrupt whatever he's attempting to do.
Well, he's clearly trying to get a visual of as much of the house and the yard and the alley behind it as he possibly can. But it's clear they have some other defenses prohibiting him from actually entering the yard. He's come close, but he's stopped and looked at where the crabgrass meets the concrete. And he's backed away, gone about his business, seemingly like the others, just taking a walk. Of course, in this neighborhood, taking a walk literally is usually because there's not much else to do inside besides either smoke or drink. And then you see Shane, and he stands out like a sore thumb. A muscle-bound Chinese kid, clearly from the suburbs. And before long, you spot another of the hounds that were there last night. And they're all keeping an eye, but they're not doing so as subtly as you think they should. It's as if they're daring someone to come out to break the boundary. And no one is. You see a few customers come and go, leaving with their parcels. And then something that you have never witnessed, the upstairs window opens and Mook is standing in the window. And he's on a cell phone and he's scanning the street. And he's looking out the window and then he's pacing in front of the window before he closes it.
I would like to use shadow perspective to peer into that room.
Yeah, this location's a bust. We've already scrubbed as much of the physical matter as we can. We've spotted several potential blank bodies moving in a watch pattern in front of the building. We'll be scrubbing the place in the next 10 minutes completely. Yeah, of course. This area catches on fire all the time. No, we've already planned that. All of the hard data has already been removed. Yeah, no, of course. Because we still have our asset down at the airport. Yeah, of course. Well, with us burning Alpha, we'll head down to Gamma and hopefully not need the other Sigma locations. Yes, we've noticed adverse reactions, increased anger. We've noticed sensitivity to light, increased adrenaline activity. But for the most part, no lasting effect. Most subjects only last 20 or so days, roughly 4 weeks. Yeah, no, the addiction is almost instantaneous. Yes, just like our subject at the airport. Not as far. No. But we have enough data for this location. We can go ahead and allow the withdrawals to take place. Local media and news have already been purchased. So it will be... What do you think about bath salts 2 or a bad batch of sativa? Yeah, in this area, sativa would probably be most likely.
Okay, I think that I need to get to Damien right away with that information.
Okay. And what information is that?
That that they're gonna scrub the place in the next 10 minutes, that they know about blank bodies, that they have a specimen at the airport that they apparently are doing experiments on, and that this is apparently location Alpha, and there's other locations as well. They're apparently planning to go to location Beta.
All right. Well, that seems like a good deal of information. And
The most pressing one I think I'm going to tell him first is they're planning to scrub this place in the next 10 minutes. And it sounds like they're going to set it on fire.
well, if you want something clean, you gotta go fire clean. All right. Unfortunately, guys, my bag still hasn't eased up. So with all of these strings and pokers in the fire, Dizzy is making friends and associates with the Bruja of the city, even though officially there's no Bruja in the Camarilla, not as a whole clan. Clyde has information related to his former wife as a news investigator. Alex has information that there is an Akashic cult of one sort or another declaring war against the Buddhists in the city. There are roughly 6 different temples spread across the Chicagoland area. And they vary in orthodoxy, but they are all in a similar network, and threatening one with physical action that results in such vandalism usually is a sign that the others won't be that far behind. Hestia has made crossroads and inroads with a fellow Tremere, and Lucio's lifetime of investigative patience seems to be paying off. I'll have prompts for you all later in the week to catch everyone up. I want to thank you all for spending this time with me, and I look forward to next week, which is our season finale, so we can wrap a lot of these things up in the meantime. So again, thank you all, and I'll see you next week.
All right, good night, everyone.
It feels like
Thank you.
that you